Am I an idiot for getting a paternity test on my son who doesn't look like me? I'm a 29-year-old white guy. My wife is 30 and black. We have 2 kids. One is a 3-year-old girl and the other, a 5-year-old boy. My wife got pregnant with our son early in our relationship. We were only together for a year. We got married because she got pregnant. Fortunately for us, we are actually happy. When my son was born, I accepted him as mine. However, I couldn't help noticing how little he looked like me. He is noticeably darker than my wife. He doesn't look half white. My family and friends have asked if I'm sure he's mine. I had doubts, but I initially decided to trust my wife. I loved my son regardless. When our son was 2, my wife had our daughter. I had no doubt she's mine. She looks just like me. She even has my blue eyes. I never realized how powerful it is to know a child is yours. I bonded with her easier because there wasn't the question of paternity dangling over our heads. My family bonded with her faster too. Her resemblance to me convinced me that my son is not mine. I tried to always treat them equally as I see them both as my children. But I realized I was beginning to resent my son. It felt unfair that I had to care for someone else's child. I also began to resent my wife because I felt she had betrayed me. I finally got a paternity test in secret. I was relieved to learn that my son is in fact mine. Genetics are weird. Anyways, that was 4 months ago and my relationship with my wife and son improved dramatically. I feel much closer to him now that I know he's mine. My wife and I have been so happy that we were talking about a 3rd child. I confessed to my wife that I got a paternity test. I hated keeping the secret and I thought she would understand given how much he doesn't look like me. She flipped out. She asked me if I ever doubted our daughter, and when I said no, she called me racist. It's not true. I didn't prefer my daughter because of her whiter features. I just knew she was mine. She also said that I made our son feel unloved for no reason for all those years. I said that's bull. Even when I didn't believe my son was mine, I treated him as though he were. My wife says she wants to move out and take our children after the quarantine. It's been about a week and a half and I'm still on the sofa. I hoped she would have calmed down by now, but things haven't changed. She's just so furious with me for not trusting her and for, in her eyes, denying my son because he's dark. She barely talks to me unless it's about the kids. I don't want to lose my family. Here's where I turn to you, Reddit. Is it so awful that I had doubts? I still took care of him. I don't understand why something like this is wrecking my marriage. I think she is overreacting. So, am I an idiot? Update. After being ripped to shreds on my first post, I didn't plan to ever log into this account again. Some recent events have persuaded me to update you all on what's been going on. I'll just get right to it. My wife and I are separated currently. I moved out so she and the kids could stay in our home. I'm staying with my parents for now. I don't get to see my kids as often as I would like to. When I have a more stable living situation, we'll have joint custody of them. It's been very hard on me and the kids. I talk to them on the phone every night, and they both keep asking when I'm coming home. It breaks my heart that I can't answer that question. My daughter is taking it the worst. I feel awful that her world has been turned upside down by her own parents. I miss my family. I miss seeing my kids every day. I miss my wife. Our relationship has been put in limbo for now. She says she needs space to process and doesn't know if she will be able to forgive me. I've apologized in every way that I know how to. At this point, I just have to give her the space she wants and hope she calms down. It would be horrible for us to throw away the things we built. If separating has been this hard on the kids, divorce is going to shatter them. She seems open to seeking couples counseling. It gives me some hope we can work past this. As for Reddit, I admit I didn't want to hold myself accountable before. I couldn't see how my actions were subconsciously harmful to my son. It was never my intention to be racist, but I did treat my son differently due to his skin color when you strip it down to its roots. I realized how bad I fricked up when I felt ashamed thinking my wife has probably told her family why we separated. They used to think really highly of me. Now they all probably think I'm a racist. I have no one to blame for that but myself. With all the craziness going on in the world, I know that I need to be more aware of my actions. My kids deserve to have their family to be a safe haven from racism. It scares me thinking about the type of world I will send them out into where they could be racially profiled in most places. I can't imagine if it were my son on the news instead of one of those other poor guys. I'll never let anything get in the way of my relationship with him again. Thanks all. You're an idiot. Yeah, your marriage is over. You neglected your son for years because you couldn't be bothered to do some research on genetics and just assumed your mixed-race kids would automatically look like the stereotype in your head. It was racist and paranoid and also led you to be a bad father. Why would she still want to be married to you? What do you think of this husband? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for refusing to put my BF on the title of my house or make him a beneficiary? My boyfriend of over 3 years has been living with me for 18 months. We are both in our 30 seconds, happy, and talk about how this is it for us, relationship-wise. We are in it for the long haul. Only problem, he does not want to get married and I really do. Marriage is important to me. We have had a lot of talks recently and his vibe is somewhere between not ready and commitment as far as marriage is stupid, so why bother? After many long discussions I realized that I love him enough to stay and take marriage off the table, even though I want it. He says he doesn't know if he'll ever want to get married. Side note, we both do not want children. Now the issue. I got paperwork from my insurance and was looking through it. I made a joke about how my parents are going to be really comfortable if I die, especially in an accident. They can mourn me in style because of my insurance policies and the added accidental death insurance I have. My boyfriend and I then got talking and he mentioned how I should really change my beneficiary to him. I said no, absolutely not. I told him that I would never make anyone who isn't blood or legal family my beneficiary. I said I would add him in the future if one day he decided he wanted marriage with me, but as it stands now my insurance will remain as is. I also told him that since I own the house we live in myself, I bought it before we got together, that I would never add him to the title without marriage. Am I an idiot? He is now mad and saying I'm an idiot and holding marriage as a bargaining chip. We never have to get married, but I am not comfortable tying him to my finances without being married. For added info, I also have a lot of money tied up in my house. He does pay me to live here. My mortgage is almost $1,200 and he pays me $400 a month towards that. I also have a lot of money invested in my house. When I bought it I used $42,000 that I saved for the down payment. That was all my money and is now equity in the house that he had no part of. I listened to a lot of your feedback and talked to my BF after my post. He seemed weird in our talk. He's been weird a lot lately, but I have been excusing it. He told me that he said to put him on as an insurance beneficiary partially as a joke, but then when I went off on my tangent, including offering up that he'll never go on my house title either even though he never mentioned it, that he got offended and reacted poorly. He said he really did think I was going off about all that in retaliation for his no to marriage talk, so he was left with a bitter taste. Which, I get. I can be more forceful than I realize and I am naturally passive aggressive. He said I didn't have to put him on anything, but he needs me to understand that I am it for him. He wants to make his life with me. Things seemed to be better after this. That weekend he asked if I wanted to go on a hike. It was peak season for the leaves changing and there is this waterfall he suggested we go to. We get to the waterfall and he pulls an envelope out of his jacket with a tiny bow on it and says it's a present for me. I opened it and it's a receipt from a jewelry store. I was confused, but I see he had the date of purchase highlighted and circled with a heart. It was early August, before the talks we had where he said he never wanted to get married. I turn and there he is with a ring. I said yes. He said he knew I would never believe that he had the ring before all this without the receipt. His attitude and comments when I started asking about marriage was to fool me so I didn't get suspicious, because this was the plan all along. He wanted an autumn proposal in a beautiful location since it's my favorite season. Money he has been saving after moving in with me, since I charged him a much smaller amount than he was previously paying, went to the ring. He saved money for over a year because he knew when he moved in with me that he was going to eventually ask me to marry him. So honestly this is the best case scenario. We talked after too. When we get married we will add each other as beneficiaries on our insurance policies. And we decided there's no need to put him on my title even after we get married. I really appreciate everyone's comments on that last post. I read all of them and most people were genuinely concerned and offered wonderful advice and support. Not an idiot. Oh man, what a bumbling way to hide a proposal. This will make a great story down the line though, and I bet you two will laugh about it quite a bit. Glad it worked out. Not an idiot. Congratulations. But I really wish he had realized that you can surprise someone with an engagement without forcing them to go through the emotional toll of thinking their partner is anti-marriage. He could have told you he was open to marriage but wasn't ready yet, and still surprised you. He really created a lot of unnecessary drama and angst with his approach. Do you think all that setup was worth it? Let me know in the comments. Now, am I an idiot for kicking a girl out of my bridal party because of how sensitive she was being towards my ideas for dresses? I feel like I'm gonna get a lot of hate for this, but I had to post it anyway. I'm getting married soon, female 28, and one of the most exciting parts of the wedding for me are the bridesmaids and the dresses. I don't consider myself to be a bridezilla, but on my special day, I want everything to be as perfect and coordinated as it could possibly be. So about a week ago I decided to invite my bridesmaids over so we could discuss dresses and stuff. Let's call the bridesmaid I had the issue with Joy. Before they came over I already had a nice dress in mind. The dress was burgundy, form-fitting, cut a little above the knees, and had one shoulder strap. I thought it was gorgeous and very feminine for women our age, but Joy and a couple of other girls weren't exactly comfortable, mostly because it was form-fitting, so I let it slide. I really wanted a dress that all of the bridesmaids would love and feel comfortable in, but they had to be the same. So the next dress was still burgundy, but it touched the floor, no slit, and it had spaghetti straps. Everybody loved the dress except for Joy, who claimed that she didn't want to wear the dress because she's insecure about her shoulders. Fair enough. At this point I knew that Joy was going to be difficult to work with, but I kept going because again, I wanted to be accommodating. I think we went through 5 or 6 more dresses before the last one. The dresses that I showed the bridesmaids were modest IMO, and little things were what made Joy not want to wear them. The complaints she had were always something small, like I don't like how the dress shows the shoes. Then my toes would be out or my hair isn't long enough to complement those sleeves. Yes, I'm 100% serious. So the last dress I showed them was a floor-length burgundy dress, loose, had beautiful long sleeves. And the only thing that was keeping it from not being a burgundy maxi dress with long sleeves was the fact that there was a slit that came up to below the knee. It honestly was one of my least favorite dresses out of the ones I chose, but I wanted to try to be accommodating. Again, everyone seemed to agree with the dress except for Joy, who claimed that the slit was a little too provocative for her taste. After this, I was a little frustrated, so I just said we'd try looking at dresses again another time. While the girls were leaving, I pulled Joy aside and explained that I don't think she'd be a good fit for my bridal party because this aspect of the wedding meant a lot to me and her demands were too nitpicky to be a part of the group. But I still wanted her to be at the wedding. She got upset and said that I was excluding her because of her insecurities. I said that I already tried to accommodate her by showing many different styled dresses, but she didn't want to hear it, and left. So, Aita, edit. I am paying for the dresses edit too. Wow, this blew up more than I expected. I'm trying to read the new comments. There's over 300, which is crazy, and respond to the info comments. But if I missed it, I'm sorry. But I just wanted to respond here to some frequently asked questions, and to make some clarifications. I wanted matching dresses because I've seen pictures and videos of weddings where the bridesmaids wore matching dresses and I fell in love with the look. I wanted a unanimous vote instead of majority rules because this is how I looked at it. Say all of the bridesmaids loved this dress but 2 of them didn't, and I picked the dress anyways. I would feel bad if 2 of my bridesmaids felt uncomfortable the whole night because they were overpowered by the others. Joy is one of my friends from college. Yes, we're not the closest like best friends, but I still appreciate her, which is why I asked her to be a part of the bridal party. Just to put this out there, my bridesmaids aren't the same, but there's no striking difference that would make me say, wow, these girls can't pull off the same dress. What I mean by that is that I don't have overly tall girls, overly skinny girls, girls with boobs that can't support a certain dress because they're too big. You get the rest. Also wanted to put this out there. I didn't choose my bridesmaids because of their body type to match my same dress aesthetic. Just saying that because I feel like someone would accuse me of it. That's just how it was. Edit 3. Oh, I forgot to add in something addressing the shawls. I did kind of bring this up while we were looking at dresses, but there were 2 issues with Joy. The first one was that she would veto the dresses, no matter what. The second one is that some of her issues didn't even have to deal with anything a shawl would fix. For example, she had a problem with slits, no matter how small, as we saw with the last dress. She would also not care about the shawl and veto the dress entirely. Update. So after reading a ton of your comments, I decided to call Joy and invite her over to talk. Luckily, she said yes. By the way, before this, she didn't say she didn't want to be at my wedding, so she was still planning on becoming a guest, and I apologized for kicking her out with no warning. But I laid out my frustrations. She apologized for being really picky about the dress and realized that the attention wasn't going to be on her and it wasn't her day, so it wasn't really appropriate for her to get upset over fine details on a dress. She also revealed to me that this was going to be her first time being a bridesmaid. She doesn't usually wear dresses. She's more of a leggings and sweatshirt type of girl. I took some of your guys' advice again and asked Joy to show me a couple of dresses online she would be comfortable with. It didn't matter what color, I just wanted to see her style, and she searched for about 10 minutes and couldn't find one that she loved. She kind of looked bummed and a little apologetic, so I came up with a plan. The official dress shopping day for the bridesmaids was the next day, and I invited Joy to go with us to get a feel for the dresses, to see if she would be comfortable. She agreed, so the next day, my girls and I met up at a dress place, tried on a couple of dresses, and Joy didn't really like them, even though my other bridesmaids did. Finally, we tried on the 4th dress, which was the one. The girls fell in love with it, and I looked at Joy and she was staring at herself in the mirror, but she had a smile on her face. I came up to her and told her again I didn't mind if she wore a shawl or cover-up for some moments, and she nodded and smiled again. Actually, one of my bridesmaids, who didn't really know about the situation, came up to Joy and told her how gorgeous she looked in the dress. I'm not gonna lie, I shed a couple of tears because they all looked so beautiful. So we found a dress that was matching and all the girls were happy with it, and Joy is back in the bridal party. Hope that this was a happy ending that everyone enjoyed. Now for me, I have to go to plan other parts of the wedding with my fiancé. Not an idiot. This is the kind of conflict resolution that makes the world a better place. There are too many stories where nothing is resolved because one is too keen on their justified action. Just because one person is acting unreasonable for a moment doesn't mean that the situation cannot improve. It's great to hear a peaceful ending.